This Impact Wrestling review was brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Try it, and the next time Hogan makes a stipulation to help out a babyface, it won't be one that works in favor of the heels. Stop me if this makes any sense to you. The NFL is back this week. Impact is going head-to-head with football. You would think that TNA would want to start this show red hot and really pull out all the stops because, hey, football on the other channel. But as it turns out, their idea for counter-programming is another show-opening Aces of Eights promo and the announcement that Kucks, Wes, and Garrett, the 3 most worthless, good-for-nothing, should-be-warming-the-bench and OVW members of this group, will all be in action tonight. No! Really? You didn't have anything better up your sleeve than that? Pretty lame, TNA. Not for nothing, though. At least these matches were used to progress storylines. They do Kucks versus Chris Saban. Match is mediocre. Kucks is boring as hell. Saban gets the advantage. The heels throw Kucks the hammer, but Saban gets it and is a little too eager to use it himself, giving Kucks the DQ victory. So Saban's not thinking very rationally here, and he's none too happy afterward. So there's shades of a heel turn, which might not be a bad idea. You know, he does have reasons to be angry. I mean, Bully Ray gets a title rematch, but he doesn't? I'd be pissed off too. And this led to a pre-tape backstage. Saban's pissed off about the business with the hammer, about losing the world title, about how the Aces of Eights keep getting away with this stuff. Velvet Sky is there trying to calm him down, but he's mad at the world and he's not hearing it. And this was pretty intriguing, actually. You know, this was the most interesting Velvet Sky segment in months. And I really like that they're incorporating this. It lets you see both characters in a different light. It leads to new stories. And I thought the acting was good here. I mean, Saban was repeating himself a little bit too much, but he sounded upset, and Velvet sounded upset, and I believed it. You know, I think there is a potential danger of Saban coming off like a whiner if they go too far with this, but here I thought it worked for teasing a heel turn. This is a good role for Velvet, because she is traditionally a good actor, and with stuff like this, she can play that up. You know, it's relationship drama, but not the overwritten, scripted all-to-hell relationship drama you see in WWE, and just recently with Bully Ray and Brooke Hogan. You know, this felt genuine. It felt like reality. I think it could have used a pre-tape before the match to establish Saban's mindset, with this being his first match back since losing the world title. But still, good stuff. Seriously? Gunstorm, your World Tag Team Champions, get jobbed out to Wes and Garrett? No! 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 Are you kidding me? This was a joke. I mean, yeah, they used a weapon to do it, but oh my god! Has your tag team division really sunk this low? Man, this was hard to take. And the match was what you'd expect. Wes and Garrett are lousy, but they win to give Bully Ray more ammunition to undermine Anderson, increasing the tension there and kind of pushing him over the edge. So this was done for a reason. I just hope to God that was the only reason.
You guys suck.
You know, the way this year's Bound for Glory series was mishandled has been such a disaster. Whichever member of the creative team was responsible for this should be embarrassed. And after ranting about this ad nauseum last week, I thought I got this all out of my system. But oh man, here we go again. This week we had an extra bonus match in the tournament that apparently it took Hogan 3 weeks of meeting with Spike TV officials to convince them to allow him to make. And this has all sorts of crazy implications if the network executives have that kind of control over the product, but I won't go into that now. The match that Hogan makes is a Gauntlet Battle Royal match for 20 points. This match bugged the hell out of me. And not because it was a bad match, but because of the meaning behind it. Look at this picture for a minute. These are the Bound for Glory series standings after last week. I find it really ironic, and actually a little insulting, that last week's show had the theme of Must Win Thursday, meaning that people had to win their respective matches in order to get what they wanted. But according to this, that is not the case at all. In actuality, last week's BFG Series matches were of no consequence whatsoever because regardless of the outcomes, each person involved would still be able to make the Final Four simply by winning this Gauntlet Battle Royal. Hell, even Joseph Park, who has lost nearly every match he's had in the tournament, could still make the Final Four just by winning this match. What is going on here? This is ridiculous. How does something like this even happen?
This whole show is ridiculous!
AJ Styles wins and makes the Final Four, which probably didn't come as a shock to anyone, and barring any unforeseen injuries or something, he's most likely going to win the BFG Series. They spent a very long time setting that up. I think most people are expecting it. And here's the thing with that. You can do a long-term storyline where the end point is obvious. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're going to do this, you have to make damn sure that the journey getting to that end point is worth taking, and you have to have a really satisfying payoff when you get there. And in this case, it's kind of been the exact opposite. The Aces of Eights thing has not been worth devoting well over a year of TV time to just to set this up. Any idiot could have told you this faction was a dead end when they saw the full lineup of the group, and they should have killed it back then. But instead, you insist on pushing a bunch of scrubs that no one likes for months and months and months. You continue on with this faction long after it's become a huge freaking chore to watch. Also, ultimately, AJ Styles can cap it off by main eventing Bound for Glory and winning the world title, both things he has already done before. And I was on board with the AJ thing up until a few months ago. I was. But all things considered, I just don't think that this alone will have made this whole angle worth doing, not by a long shot. After being forced to endure schmucks like Wes Briscoe and Garrett Bischoff all this time, we deserve more of a payoff than that.
And if you're not down with that, we have 2 words for you. You're welcome!
That doesn't mean it's all bad, though. They had a segment later that was all about introducing the Final Four and hyping the semifinals at No Surrender next week, and I thought this part came off great. This was the best part of the show. All 4 men felt like a big deal, like the stars they should be. They each got mic time, and they set up the semifinal matches in a way that made it look like they all had something to prove. Simple but effective. Why couldn't the rest of the BFG series be like this? Also, if I can backtrack for a minute, something else I liked is they finally did something with Jay Bradley that didn't involve him being the designated jobber of the tournament. Some organization apparently paid him off to take a certain someone out of this match, presumably AJ. Whether he was referring to Ego or the Aces of Eights, we don't know. And it's cool that they kind of left that up in the air. And I thought this was interesting, but then it didn't really go anywhere. He gets eliminated, and then he doesn't come back later. He doesn't try to yank anyone out of the ring. So I guess he has to return that money now because whoever he was supposed to take out, he failed. It was weird. They had kind of a cool little side angle here, but then it just sort of disappeared and nothing came of it. I assume there's more to it than this. Maybe they'll follow up on it next week. I don't know, but really not sure what to make of this. So ODB is the new #1 contender to Mickie James' Knockouts title. They're hyping up that match. Mickie cuts an absolutely delightful promo, poking fun of the VMAs and Miley Cyrus. Really funny stuff. Then ODB showed up, and I completely checked out. And their exchange here was not bad. It really wasn't. Just more of the same stuff we always get from ODB, but it was not a bad segment. The live crowd enjoyed it, which I chalk up to the performances rising above the derivative nature of this, and also ODB ripping Mickey's top off. I just didn't care about it. I have no desire to see this match. So instead of critiquing the segment itself, I'm going to tell you what the problem with this is. Here's why this feud doesn't work. The reason why I don't care, aside from me not giving two shits about ODB anymore, is because it's all about the championship. It's about, I want the Knockouts title, and that's it. Issue number 1. The Knockouts title is worthless. I've been over this before. Every active Knockout has held that thing at least twice. Taryn Terrell isn't active right now, so she doesn't count. So by now, they've rendered that belt completely meaningless. Issue number 2. This is the least interesting kind of rivalry that two people like this can have. ODB has had multiple title reigns over the years, and each and every single one of them has been absolutely atrocious, by the way. And Mickey has held so many championships in WWE and TNA that I've lost track of them all. So the logic of building a feud between these two based solely on them just wanting the title really isn't interesting anymore. Mickey's won more major titles than, like, any woman ever. I look at Mickey and I think, well, why do you even care about the title at this point? It's just another notch in your belt. What do you have left to prove? And ODB, why does she give a flying crap? She just had a championship for like a year and a half that she did exactly nothing with. Never defended it, treated it like a joke, and now I'm supposed to believe that she cares about this one? Now I'm supposed to want to see her win this one? It doesn't work that way, ODB. I'm sorry, I can't take ODB seriously as a title challenger now, not after they gave her the knockout tag titles to basically kill the belts. That's bullshit.
This alleged superstar is an unworthy opponent.
If TNA want this feud to be interesting in any way, it has to be about something more than just the title. Now look at what WWE just did with John Cena and Daniel Bryan. I mean, yes, a big part of that build-up was about the WWE title, but there was more to it than just that. It was also about how a part of John Cena really just didn't respect Daniel Bryan because Bryan had never beaten him, had never been WWE champion, and Bryan really obsessing over this, refusing to let it go, and wanting to earn the respect that Cena wouldn't give him. And when Bryan beat Cena at SummerSlam, he got the title, but what was almost more significant was that Cena finally acknowledged Bryan as an equal, and Bryan finally got the respect from Cena that he always wanted. TNA needs to do something like that with Mickey and ODB if they want this to mean anything. The feud can't just be about the title, because they've both been there, done that many times now. It doesn't mean nearly as much as someone like Taryn Terrell going for her very first championship. And realistically, there should be other things going on that are going to be stronger motivators for both these women at this point in their careers. Main event. Slammiversary rematch. Sting versus Bully Ray. Non-title. By the way, I thought it was hilarious, all the hoops they were jumping through here to explain Hogan's promo botch from last week. That was kind of funny. The amount of facepalm-worthy stuff that happened in this segment made me want to throw something at the TV. Bully Ray comes out with Anderson, Tito, Tessmacher. Sting comes out alone, without the rest of the main event mafia. Question number 1. Why didn't he bring them out with him? He knew the Aces of Eights were going to interfere in this match. They always do. They did the last time he faced Bully Ray, which was what caused him to reform the main event mafia in the first place. But no, fuck common sense. Sting comes out alone because...
Congratulations, you just renewed your idiot license.
Then it gets weirder. Hogan comes out and bans Tito Ortiz from ringside. Tito gets taken away by security. Question number 2. If all it took was Hogan banning these guys from ringside, why didn't he start doing this a year ago? Plot hole! Question number 3. He bans Tito from ringside, but Tessmacher and Anderson are allowed to stay out there?
What the fuck?
Then it gets weirder still. Hogan must be losing his memory or something because he forgot about what happened at Slammiversary for the second week in a row and made this match no disqualification. Meaning that, once again, the Aces of Eights, who, may I remind you, were either already at ringside or right backstage waiting to interfere because Hogan forgot to ban them when he banned Ortiz, would now be allowed to interfere in the match all they want, and it's completely 100% legal.
This whole show violates everything about my journalistic integrity.
On any kind of sane, logically booked show, this is something that a heel general manager would do to screw Sting over. He basically just recreated the same situation that led to Sting losing at Slammiversary. Question number 4. Is Hogan retarded?
Yes!
Question number 5. Why didn't the rest of the main event Mafia immediately race to the ring the second Hogan cut loose with that epic brain fart? It was pretty goddamn obvious that interference was coming. So the match starts, and well, guys, wouldn't you know it? The Aces of Eights start interfering in the match because it's completely legal. Thanks a fucking lot, Hogan. Dumbass.
Ignorance is curable, but stupid is forever.
Eventually, the main event Mafia do come out to even the odds. Everyone brawls out of the arena, and it's down to Sting, Bully, Anderson, and Tessmacher again. Sting has Bully in the deathlock, Anderson has the hammer, but decides not to give it to him because it turns out Anderson is the member of the Aces of Eights that will challenge Bully Ray for the title at No Surrender. And he decides, well, fuck you, Prez, I want the title. So you see, it all makes sense now. No, it doesn't! This is the reason why Anderson wasn't banned from ringside. But it does not explain why Hogan didn't ban him in the first place. The only way that makes sense is if Hogan had known in advance that Anderson was going to screw Bully over, which there was no way for him to know. And even if he had known somehow, it still doesn't explain why he allowed Tessmacher to stay out there, or why he would make a stipulation that would once again allow the Aces of Eights to legally interfere in the match after what happened the last time Sting faced Bully Ray.
I was a war correspondent, and now I'm covering this.
This was setting up Anderson turning on Bully in the most contrived way imaginable. The only thing that saved this was Anderson's performance. He cut a great, intense promo on Bully post-match that made me excited for the title match next week and even made me mark out a little bit. Great work by Anderson there. It's just a shame that the segment he did it in was so utterly fucked up. Weird episode this week. The BFG series is a complete mess, but it ended strong. The segment with the Final Four was damn good. Mickey ODB I didn't care about. The Velvet Saban thing I liked a lot. The Aces of Eight stuff was all over the place. Saban getting DQ'd against Kucks, I understand that. That made sense. But Wes and Garrett beating the tag team champions, that was bullshit any way you look at it, and James Storm deserves so much better than this. And I didn't even know what to make of the main event. I liked the result. I liked the Anderson turn. But it was essentially Sting prevailing over Bully Ray despite some really bizarre story contrivances and Hogan's furthering descent into complete madness, but only because of Anderson turning on Bully, which he couldn't possibly have known would happen. Jesus. There were so many plot holes and gaps in logic and things to be explained here that, honestly, it kind of felt like Vince Russo booked this. I will leave it at that. I'll see you next week for No Surrender. Peace. Out.